What's up, podcast listeners? It's your host, Rafan Bachevsky, and we're back at it on this special episode because it marks my 1-year anniversary for releasing my first fitness ebook, the IronClad Body Training System. We're going to chat about that today because I'm doing a special sale this Saturday, June 20th, on that bad boy, and I want to talk about it because I've gained a lot more listeners, a lot more followers this past year since I released it, and many of you have probably haven't had the chance to check it out, know what the fuck it is, things like that. I want to do some shout outs. Number one, all the way in Denmark, we got the city of Copenhagen. Super cool to see listeners from outside of Canada all over the world. Number two, within Canada, Salmon Arm. So random that my top second city is Salmon Arm. Fucking awesome. And number three, if I remember correctly, it was out in Sweden. Can't remember the city because it was just way too hard to pronounce, so I was not gonna be able to memorize it because usually I used to do these at home and I would have it right in front of my laptop and butcher city names. But anyway, IronClad Body Training System. What the hell is it? So if you follow my work online, you know that I'm a huge advocate for proper movement, safe exercises, moving better so then your joints don't fucking hurt, and training smart so then you can lift heavy shit and be resilient in everyday life. That's my whole jam. So when I started writing this, the way I train is kind of influenced from so many different professionals. And in my book, I list probably like 20 people that have all influenced my career on how I train. So everything in my book that I'm re-releasing this Saturday has been around forever. It's just my interpretation of it and what I've seen with my clients that follow the same protocol. And what I notice is that, the typical story I tell every brand new client is like, when I ask about their injuries, they're like, oh, I don't really have any injuries, but my shoulders kind of get sore and my hip kind of hurts and sometimes my low back flares up. They start training with me. After 3 months, I usually check in and go, hey, how's that shoulder, that hip, that low back? And they're like, honestly, haven't really thought of that in a while because since training with you, it's been feeling really good. So I was like, okay, I'm on to something. And this happens to every single client of mine. And that's why I do so well in the clinical setting with a chiropractor doing rehab, and I'm doing this in air quotes, rehab exercises, which is really just exercise done properly and finding the right variation for your anatomy. That being said, the kind of like golden nugget to my program is the self-assessment. So in my book, before you even start the program that's in there, you do a self-assessment based on 12 movements. A lot of it is from the functional movement screen and other assessments that I've picked up over the years. And I've picked ones that are pretty like self-explanatory, very hard to fuck up. And if you filmed yourself doing it, you would know right away if you passed or failed. Based on the 12 movements, if you score, a pass or fail, depending on what your score is, dictates what version of the program you're going to do. So really, my book contains 3 separate programs, a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced. So in a sense, and each program for each level is 4 months. So if you were a complete beginner or a person that's been training for a while, things haven't been improving and you might have an issue with your shoulder, and you've placed yourself in a beginner program because you need to develop some better movement qualities and better mobility, you could literally do the beginner program for 4 months. Your movement quality will probably improve. Your pain would probably go away. So then now you can do the next program, which is the intermediate one that has different exercises but follows the same protocols. And now you have another 4 months. And then after that, you could literally do the advanced one. So if you fall in that category of beginner, you have a program to follow for an entire year. Like, that's pretty freaking awesome. So with this program, it focuses on 3 days of strength and 2 days of mobility. And the best results I've seen with the people who've purchased this book have followed those 5 days per week and have seen huge improvements. And the biggest thing, which is interesting, is like, people all told me they looked at the program and they're like, this is actually not that difficult. But when they actually put it into practice, they're like, holy shit, why is this so hard? Right? So at face value, when you look at the exercises, and I've had multiple clients, and even my chiropractor that I work hand in hand with patients, when I program for her, she always looks at it and is like, well, it doesn't look that difficult. And then she does it. She's like, why the fuck is this so hard? I'm like, because I choose exercises that expose deficiencies, and most people fall into like patterns of, crappy posture or terrible whatever. And it's like, you expose hip stability exercises, core stability exercises, and shoulder stability exercises, and people are like, holy shit, why is this program so difficult? Now, that being said, because you're working on exposing those weaknesses, things start to like improve. You move better, you have a better capacity for workload. And also what other people have said is when they've done those mobility workouts that I have in there, they're like, holy shit, why am I so bad at this? And I'm like, yeah, mobility and strength go hand in hand. In order for you to move a joint in a certain plane of motion, say doing a dumbbell bench press, if your shoulders don't work like a shoulder does, then it's not going to yield you the results you want, right? Like, if your posture is like this, with your shoulders forward because you sit at a desk all day, on a computer or laptop, that's going to affect how you do a bench press, and that's going to affect how much weight you can place on your bench press to get there, right? So when you look at the strength workouts, you have everything from using barbells to kettlebells to dumbbells, right? Like, this is not functional training like you're going to use a freaking Bosu ball or anything. It's just smart training. Also in the book, which is really cool, is not just a program. I go into detail of like everything specific in the program. I tell you about my backstory and how I got into the industry, what I believe in, and then I get into like, what is your core? Why are kettlebells a vital component to this program? Why is breathing so important? Like, I jump into a lot of stuff, and I also talk about pain, flexibility, how to improve tissue quality, foam rolling, like everything. I cover a lot of topics. So even if you didn't, wanted to follow my program, just the general material in there is huge. And like, when you download and purchase this book, if I can remember correctly, last time I opened it, there's about 457 pages or something like that. And most ebooks from other coaches that I've seen is like maybe 200. Like, I've gone above and beyond with how much detail I've put into it. So I'm saying all this stuff because I feel like right now, with all these gyms reopening, it is time for you to like take your health back into your own hands. So 100%, if you're a type of person that wants to move and feel better but still get strong, lose fat, and look good, like whatever your goal is, like this program is for you. But I primarily wrote it for people that have some aches and pains but still want to train. Like, everyone here that's listening is probably like hurt their low back at one point. So it's like, what can you do to prevent that? My book and program covers it. All of us listening has probably felt some sort of shoulder pain. My program exposes it and helps you develop better shoulders. So an example of that is like, most people should not be pressing overhead. That's why I have overhead pressing in my advanced program. All the other pressing motions that I have in my program are with the landmine, with the cable machine, whatever it is, right? I address all the things that most people deal with in this program. Like going back to the low back thing, it's most likely because your hips have terrible mobility, so I cover that in the mobility workouts. Like there's so much in this book that if you follow it, you'd be surprised how better you're gonna move and feel by just switching small things. Like when you look at the exercise selection, you won't think that, oh, this is a rehab program. But in reality it is, but it's also a strength conditioning program, and it's also a mobility program. Like it covers all bases. And I'm super proud to see so many different people in so many different countries around the world that purchase this book and will message me and be like, holy shit, like training finally makes sense to me. You know, like I'm a huge believer in the why. You know, I used to buy programs all the time from other coaches, and I always wanted to know, why did you put that exercise in? Why did you put this exercise with this one? And my book explains why. You know, that's why like I always want to over deliver. And another thing I did with my book is like, most of us don't have fucking time to do anything. So I actually recorded a audio version of my book, so you can listen to all the information that you need to know moving forward, so you don't actually have to read. Like I literally sat down, and it's like story time with Coach Ralph here, and you literally will just listen to me talk about my book. And the funny thing is, like, you get better commentary, because I remember like recording it, I would like talk about something and then go, oh yeah, so when I wrote this part, or like I'll give like stories and examples. Like personally, I wouldn't even read my book, I would just listen to the audio version of it. So again, book gets you the assessment, a shit ton of material to understand why you're doing the certain exercises, why I chose it. You get audiobook, you get workout sheets, and then in the book you have a demo video of the exercise, and you get a tutorial. So every single exercise that's in there, you have a detailed tutorial video of me explaining how to do the exercise, right? It's within the book. Like it's freaking awesome to have this. And that's the other thing. Like I bought other coaches' books, and like sometimes it's like the best you'll get is like pictures, but sometimes you can't figure out how to do the exercise. So within the book, like you have the preview image of the demo exercise and the tutorial. You click it, boom, takes you to my YouTube page, and boom, you have everything you need right there and then. So I'm going to end it there, and I'm probably going to do another podcast reminder for my ebook anniversary sale. So this Saturday, I'm going to post a link to my book with the discount. So that's the other thing. I'm discounting my book a lot. So when I released it, it was $57, and I'm selling it for $25 this Saturday, because I want as many people following this program, because it's important. Like I want people's health to be taken care of. So $25, that's all it is. Like you just don't go to Starbucks 3 times and you already have $25. All right, so watch out for the link online on my social media to purchase the book, and I am going to continue giving you the best fitness and health advice on the planet. Thank you. You guys are amazing. Seriously, you have no idea how much I appreciate seeing so many people all over the world listening to my podcast, listening to my ramblings, and thinking that is actually good. But I guess I have some value in what I say. Thank you. You guys are absolutely the best. Until next time.